Hello everyone, my name is Trần. Welcome to our class. Today we learn about solving equations having the variable on both sides. Our lesson has four parts. First, warm up. Second, solving equations having the variable on both sides. Third, we will study how to solving equations having the fractions and the variable on both sides. The last part, we will practice our we have learned today. Now, we go to part 1, warm up. First, I have the following exercise. So, who can tell me which equations have linear expressions on one side and number on the other side? Who can tell me? So, let's check our result. We can see in most examples that we have come across so far. The right hand side is just a number, but it doesn't always need to be. Both sides can have expressions with variables, such as the equation 2 we have in exercise. The expressions on the left-hand side is 2x minus 3, and the expressions on the right-hand side is x plus 2. So, how to solve the equations like that? We will understand by our lessons today. Lesson 4. Solving equations having the variable on both sides. 1. Solving equations having the variable on both sides. Let's try to solve uninvolved equations in example 12. We have the equation 2 times x minus 3 is equal to x plus 2, and now we need to solve for x. So we have two sides. I'm going to put my variable terms on the left hand side and my constant terms on the right hand side. Similar in the last period, I add 3 from both sides. And so the left hand side of the equations, I have 2x. I'm not adding or subtracting anything to that. But then I have negative 3 plus 3 is just 0. That's what the whole point. They cancel out. Don't have to write it down. That is equal to the right hand side. I carry down x, and then I have 2 plus 3 is just 5. The next thing we want to do is we get all of the variable terms on the left hand side. So we don't want this x here. So maybe we subtract x from both sides. So what do we get? The left hand side 2x minus x, that is x. and that is going to be equal to x minus x. That is cancel out that whole point by subtracting x. So x is equal to 5, and that is our answer. Now, let's verify that it really works. Let's substitute it back into the original equations. So we have 2 times x. We have solved for x. It is 2 times 5 minus 3 equal to 10 minus 3, and the left hand side simplifies to 7. And the right hand side we have 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. So they are indeed equal, and we got the right answer. So here we subtract from both sides of the equations, not a number, but a term involving the variable. So why we can't do that? Also note that subtracting x from both sides amount to transposing x to left hand side. So we have our remark. Subtracting variable from both sides amounts to transposing variable from one side of the equations to the other. So how about the equations having fractions and variable on both sides? We go to part 2. Solving equations having the variable on both sides, fractions. Let's try to solve uninvolved equations in example 13. We have the equations 5 times x plus 7 seconds is equal to 3 seconds times x minus 14, and we need to solve for x. Similar to example 12, we have two sides. I'm going to put my variable terms on the left hand side and my constant terms on the right hand side. But adding and subtracting fractions are messy. So what I'm going to do? We should to multiply both sides of these equations by some number so I can get rid of the fractions. And the best number to do it by what number is the smallest number. That is, I multiply both of these fractions by it. They won't be fractions anymore. They will be the whole number. Thus, smallest number is going to be 2 in these equations. That is also the denominator of these fractions. I'm going to multiply 2 times both sides of this equation. How did we get 2? And I got 2 because that's the least common multiple of 2, and 2, the smallest number that is divisible by 2 is 2. So we multiply 2 times, we get rid of the fractions. Let's see what happens. So we will multiply out. 2 times 5x plus 2 times 7 seconds is equal to 2 times 3 seconds minus 2 times 14. Then next step, 2 times 5x is 10x and plus 2 times 7 seconds. That is pretty easy. The 2's cancel out and we have 7. So the left hand side is equal to 2 times 3 seconds is 3 and then minus 2 times 14 is 28. And now we have cleaned up the equation a good bit. The next thing, we try to isolate x from on the left hand side. So let's get rid of this 3x from the right. We will change both 3x to left hand side from positive 3x to negative 3x. So the left hand side of these equations, 10x minus 3x is 7x, and then you have a plus 7 is equal to negative 28. Next step, let's get rid of 7 from the left hand side. So to get rid of it, we are going to subtract 7 from both sides or change both 7 to right hand side. And we have 7x on the left hand side is equal to negative 28 minus 7 is negative 35. To isolate the x, we can just divide both sides of these equations by 7. The left hand side, 7x divided by 7 is just an x. That's what the whole point. And the right hand side, negative 35 divided by 7 is negative 5. And we are done. X equals negative 5 is our solution. So let's make sure that it actually works by substituting the original equations. We get 5 times negative 5 is negative 5, then plus 7 seconds is negative 43 over 2. And the right hand side, we have 3 seconds times negative 5 is negative 15 over 2, then minus 14 is negative 43 over 2. So both sides of the equations become negative 43 over 2, and we are done. Please write down. After my presentations, let me know what do we do first when we solve the equations have fractions like example 13. So that is our remark. Please write it down. Remark. We find out the smallest number that is divisible by denominators of the fractions and multiply that number on both sides to get rid of the fractions. Also, we have note when you multiply both sides or a side of an equation by a number. You multiply every term by that number. And now we go to the last part. Practice. So today we have learned how to solve the equations having variable on both sides. And now we work in pair to do exercise on the projector's screen. After 5 minutes, the fastest team will present the solutions on the board. 5 minutes, start. So we have our homework. First, review the correct examples. Second, do exercise 2.3 page 30 and 2.4 page 31. And today's lesson is over. Thank you for your attention.